Yo, what the hell's up? Welcome back to Reviews with Jake, where I just got done watching 28 Years Later. It's been 18 years since we've gotten anything from this franchise that basically revolutionized the possibilities from zombie movies. Why they couldn't just wait another 10 years to make this really meta? I do not know. What I enjoyed most about this movie was the cinematography. There were some really great, breathtaking shots with very vibrant pops of color that just screamed Alex Garland, even if he wasn't the one behind the camera. Also, in true Garland fashion, the production design was on point. The locations and sets were awesome, claimed by decay, and so dead, yet somehow full of life. I also really appreciated the world building of this movie. Like I said before, it's been decades since we've been to this franchise, and that time jump exists also in the movie itself. And we haven't seen anything of these characters for decades as they've been living in the carnage of this ravaged world. And you're able to see through meticulous detail how they were able to survive that long. Finally, the gore and prosthetics of this movie were awesome and brutal, as we've all come to expect from this franchise. And just knowing what that is capable of doing made all of the action, the rage, carnage that much more high octane and intense, because we knew what could possibly be on the other side of some of these sequences. However, on the flip side of that, I'm not so sure I'm fully on board yet with the expansion of the rage virus and how it has evolved over the last couple of decades, like with new enemy types and everything. I'm not so sure this franchise really needed to do that, like it's Left 4 Dead or something, but then again, there's also 2 more films coming that maybe might win me over. What I'm also not so sure I was on board with was some of the experimental filmmaking happening in this movie. From color changes, jarring editing, and camera work, sometimes it just got a little too balls to the walls for me and made me just sit back and say, nah, I could have done without that. On the note of odd decisions, I also thought that the score of this movie, surprisingly enough, I didn't really enjoy that much. They made some odd calls during odd moments. I'm trying to not hold it against the film too much that I never actually heard the 28 Days Later theme, which just slaps. Trying to not hold it against it that much, but at least there was one sequence towards the end that kind of got a little bit of that John Murphy going. It was at least in that same vein. Outside of that, though, there were some wacky moments with the music choices that just didn't really feel like it was the right genre of music to be playing at that particular moment, to the point that made me feel, as I was watching, it's like, what am I supposed to be feeling right now? What mood are they trying to convey? Which brings me right to the tone. For me, this movie kind of felt like it had a little bit of an identity crisis. Like, most of the runtime was the post-apocalyptic zombie movie I expected it to be. But then all of a sudden at the end, it started to try and pull at your heartstrings with some drama, which half worked, but also half failed because the rest of the movie just wasn't really building to that. And then the end happened, and I guess it's a comedy. I'm not so sure I was supposed to be laughing, but I was indeed, and I'm not so sure how I felt about the fact that I was laughing, especially after everything that preceded it. All of the feelings that I had kind of felt like they were undercut because of that ending. All in all, while I enjoyed this movie, it didn't blow me away. It didn't quite hit the peaks of Days Later, but it mostly toppled Weeks Later, outside, of course, the opening sequence and the helicopter scene of that movie, which kind of blows away everything in this trilogy. I sort of liken it to Jurassic Park / World, a couple movies that I so enjoyed during my younger years, but then they went dark with those movies for so many years, decades for that matter, and then they come back, and sure, it wasn't perfect, but I'm willing to forgive a lot if you give me that sweet nostalgia. I'm not so sure what it says about me that I get nostalgia from a trilogy that habitually hangs dong in their movies, especially this one, but I'll be sure to ask a therapist at my earliest convenience. But that's just me. What do you think? Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with new reviews coming real soon. Stay safe. Thanks for checking in.